You know what, Savannah? We'll just start with you. You respectfully disagree with the host on marriage and religion. What do you mean? Are these interconnected or are they separate?
Yes. So I believe in marriage because I'm a Christian. I believe that marriage is created by God. And yeah, it's the most beautiful thing I think that two people can do, because it's man and woman being brought together and becoming one person. And it's beautiful. Having children within marriage is something that I want to do one day. And I believe I'm a Catholic and Catholic Christian because I know that Jesus died on the cross for our sins. He paid the ultimate price so that we could have the chance to live forever with him in heaven. And there is more proof for Christianity than any other religion that's been created.
What's your specific disagreement, though?
My specific disagreement? Well, I'm not totally sure about your opinion on religion, actually.
Why don't you relate the disagreement to marriage, though? What is your disagreement?
Do you believe in marriage? Because I'm not sure how they got that I disagree with you on there. I don't know who put that in there. Yeah.
It says, I respectfully disagree with the host on marriage and religion. But, okay. I understand the religious arguments for marriage, but from a secular perspective, and there are even warnings that you could give to somebody who's Christian or who's of another religion. There are certain risks, typically to the breadwinner, which is typically the man, although sometimes the woman can be the breadwinner, but there's some differences there too. Essentially, marriage, my view, is divorce, at least the divorce component of marriage, is financially quite harmful to men, disproportionately. I don't really see the point of marriage outside of religion, and maybe you might actually agree with me. What would be the point of getting married if you're not religious?
Yeah, because I don't really think it is a marriage if you're not religious. It's just like you're signing a paper, joining two people together, like legally.
Well, then I would I guess, advise even religious men, even Christian men, although the religion would compel one to, maybe not compel is not the right word. Marriage is obviously strongly encouraged. That there are still risks even for religious men when it comes to getting married, and these risks should be weighed when making such a decision. So the financial component, and also even if you are Christian, the religion doesn't oversee the marriage. The state does. So in the event of a divorce, I guess you're Catholic. Do you believe in divorce?
No.
Okay, so
I'm a little bit different than Protestants there.
Right. Okay. So you're like, I'm not kidding. You're married, right?
Yeah, you have to take it really, really seriously. You have to make sure that this is really something that you want, because you're literally going into it forever, like literally to death do us part, and willing to go through the ups and downs. And there are a lot. You've been married for 9 years. I'm sure you've been through a lot already. I mean, my husband is from a different country. He moved here so that we could be together and get married. Wait,
where's he from?
India.
India?
Yes.
It's not like a green card marriage, is it?
It's not. No.
It's like a 90-day fiancé situation. I love it.
We got married on the K-1 visa, which you do get. It's 90 days to get married once you get the visa.
As her maid of honor in her wedding, I can certify he actually does love her, and I made sure of that beforehand.
She doesn't seem like she's settling for less.
Yeah. Husband is awesome. But something I want to say too, from a secular point of view, marriage is an institution. It is the most basic political institution. And if people can't revere an institution and keep it institutionalized, then the whole society is going to fall apart around it. And so that's from, a non-religious point of view, why marriage is actually so important. It's one union. You become one person. And that's a good thing, because then a country can have structure around that. Not only children can be reared properly and well, but then you can actually have reverence for whatever form of government you have.
But you would...
Well, I was going to push back on that a little, because the context for marriage, as Savannah said, from a Christian lens, visualize it like this. Two people are inside of a circle, and at the center of the circle is Christ. And so when you move closer to Christ, you get closer to the circle, closer together, right? But from a secular view, you're actually marrying each other's preferences. And so now there's two dots in the circle, and none of them are Christ or the faith. So what happens with a secular marriage is you're basically, you know, the cliche, till death do us part. Well, a secular marriage is basically till our preferences change, do we part. And that's why it really has, even if you borrowed the general foundation and said, oh, this is like in reverence to the state and the structure of society, descriptively, I kind of agree with that structure is better than none. But if you have a structure and it has no foundation or context, it's really just a structure on sand, and I think secular marriage is basically on sand.
Yeah, and as a Reformed Baptist, I fully agree with you have to have Jesus at the center of marriage, because there's no other way you can get through anything if you don't. But from the state's point of view or someone else's secular point of view, I mean, it is an institution, and it's commonly described, especially in conservative founding philosophies and such, as the basic fundamental institution. And so, it's just another way to think about it.
But I agree with you. It's become something that we just expect, that people kind of do. The main difference here is if you guys asked us, do we have an obligation to stay married? The answer is yes. If you ask a secularist if they have an obligation, they don't, right?
Right.
So it's okay, you can borrow the Christian paradigm and sort of try to slop it onto a secular framework, but if there's no obligation, it's kind of like good luck. They're kind of like playing. It's like LARPing. It's like live action role playing Christianity. And it's I do agree somewhat descriptively that structure for children is better than no structure, but it's what's the structure derivative of if it's not Christianity? I've never gotten an answer in all of my years of debating.
Yeah.
So.
And
there is none, that's why.
Yeah, there's no.
With bringing up children, it's better if children have parents that are married.
Yeah.
Just
Why is that?
statistically.
Yes.
Well, there's a strong bond, of course, from if you're saying, there's a little girl that the parents have, she can look to her parents and her father, to who would be a good person for her to look to marry one day. As somebody who grew up without my father in the home, just like many, many children, and especially minority children in America today have the same experience. It is, and even President Obama has talked about fatherlessness within the Black community, just how it's more likely for the daughter to grow up and be with men that don't want to marry her, have children outside of marriage, and we know the effects of that. And just men, like little boys, going into gangs, turning to drug use. If you don't have a strong mother and father figure in the home, it just isn't a positive for children.
I mean, even for boys, it doesn't even have to be as extreme as doing or selling drugs. It could be they don't have a healthy example of what a relationship is. So they're going to see mom trying to date, going through guys, or mom not dating at all. And they have no point of reference of how to treat a woman, or even to be in a relationship and to be your best self, so you can be that for another person. They have no point of reference.
It's also a marriage inside a house from a Christian lens is reflective of the hierarchy of the society. So there's a natural hierarchy. Feminism fights against this hierarchy, but you can't without borrowing from the dudes ultimately. And so to add on to what she said is that when you're married and your bond is to Christ or the church and you're an extension of it, even we teaching our kids very early that they are the fruits of the marriage. But if you're not fruits of the marriage, what are you fruits of? Just an act, right? Just an act that's either sterile or not. Whoops, we had a baby. There's no context for it. It's just strict nature, right? That's the context. Is you're an effect of nature. Can you imagine teaching your kids they're just merely the effect of nature and nothing else? I mean, no wonder they act like animals.
Well, and then families that have a strong father who is Christian in the home, typically you'll get children who are also in that same religion. In single mother households, the difference between having a father who practices the religion and just a mother who practices religion is 40 points. So you will typically not have children who go into the faith if they live in a single mother household But if they live in a single father household and he practices Christianity, they will likely be in the faith. And then obviously the odds are even higher if both parents are in the religion. So for the perpetuation of a strong and stable faith, households must be held together.
Can I mean, absent religion, though, can anybody present to me any compelling and convincing arguments why I or other men should get married? Like,
I just feel like it's manly to dedicate yourself to one woman. And
Is it?
Yes. I know that that's not a popular opinion.
yeah, do you need marriage to dedicate yourself to one woman?
No.
Yeah.
But I think that it's more likely since it's like a stronger bond. I feel like when you marry someone, I mean, just by experience, that you just become closer to each other, and there's a different level of dedication. It's like, if tomorrow I decide to just leave, it's not like I can just walk out the door. It would be a long process.
I mean, even if you could always make the argument, okay, if you want to have kids, continue your legacy, it's always better to be married. But even if a man like doesn't want kids, okay, but when you're old and 80 and you need somebody to wipe your butt, like, do you want to be doing that alone? Do you want to be in a nursing home having a stranger just letting you sit in it all day? Or do you want someone who loves you, who's going to be there and help take care
Yeah,
of
you
you?
don't need marriage for that, though.
It just always, I feel like it gives it more of like, it's a 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We were just having this conversation the other day. It's like having 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Like, you need some sort of commitment.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, if you're not committing to be married, or if it's not a goal, for you in your relationship, it's kind of like you can bounce whenever you want, and that doesn't really give stability in your
people
emotions.
get divorced all the time.
Right, but it's a much lengthier process. And again,
Okay, so
I was raised Catholic,
You're
so I don't
staying
believe.
together because it's a little more complicated.
Not to say that you stay together because it's more complicated, but it kind of gives you more time to also evaluate the relationship or evaluate yourself. Is that what you really want to do? If you choose to, more power to you. That's your decision. But I mean, I feel like it's not an easy way out, because people also like the easy way out. They like the convenience.
It's kind of easy.
Unfortunately,
The
they've
divorce
made
process?
divorce really
It's easy to just leave someone if you're not committed in a marriage.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but so I guess all the things you guys have listed, though, so you have somebody there in old age, you have a family, you have children. You can have all of these outside of marriage. So I could stay with the same woman for all my life. We could have multiple kids.
We're
but
also
we just never
assuming
get
every
married.
guy is a good partner too.
What's that?
We're also assuming every guy will be a good partner. So
What do you mean?
not everybody. I feel like we have so many people. What's the ratio of like women to men in this country?
It's
I don't
like
know. I
3
feel like-
women to 1 man, or
Yeah, and not every man want to get
It's
married.
not 3 women.
it's about
I don't know
2
what
or
it is.
3 women.
But I feel like women are.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Because
I would say, Brian, if you're not converting to Christianity, then you're right. There would be no ultimate reason, because the context for marriage can't just be the kind of outcomes, because like Brian said, you could produce all those outcomes without the marriage. So it really brings into the question, well, what is a marriage? And from my perspective, my faith is you're actually marrying to a body. There's a third aspect to it. It's not just to each other. And so without that, the question is, why should you convert to Christianity is a question before why should you get married. And so if you were exploring that, Brian, I would start with, should I consider Christianity as a practice, as a life? Then that would give you your context for marriage. But otherwise, you'd be right. Without the context, it's kind of a useless question. Like, why would you get married? There is there would be no use or purpose, or there's not even an ontology of marriage from that perspective.
Okay. Let's see. I guess who here is, because Christianity has come up a little bit. Who here is Christian? Just show of hands.
Catholic. Yeah.
Christian. Okay.
Catholic.
Just curious. Let's see here. Jim Bob, under Christianity, are wives, should they be submissive to their husbands?
Yeah, it's kind of view it like this. The husband is the head and the wife is the neck. And so you need the neck. It's a component of the body. And the marriage is an extension of the body, which is the church. So everything has a hierarchy, and when you say women should be submissive to men, it's a duty difference. It's not a value difference.
Yep.
It just naturally, even in nature, there's a discrepancy between male and female. As the debate yesterday, if you saw it, that men are geared towards certain duties and behaviors, and women are geared toward others, and that could actually kind of inform you what the duties could be. So the problem with the term is submissive has been largely in the last 100 years been railed into women's head, and now men, that it's a bad thing. But the problem is, under Christianity, the man is also to be submissive to someone higher. And so this is one thing I push back with people who are sort of like red pill. They're like, they borrow a Christian lens to say women should be submissive. But if they don't see how being submissive from his perspective is a virtue, why would they follow you?
Yeah.
So you're the God, you're the Pope, you're the master. Well, who's your master? And so it's not a riddle to me why women are taking it that way. They're like, why would I submit to you? And it's like, because I'm strong, right? Well, no, that's not a good enough reason. Because I'm rich, still not even a good enough reason. So yeah, from a Christian view, it's a good question, because if you ask the same question from a different view, without a Christian lens, I'm not sure there's a good answer why women should submit to men.
Yeah.
We have a message here from Lucas. It's regrettable, but secular marriage is no longer a manageable risk for men. Approximately 50% of marriages end in divorce. Approximately 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Approximately 85% of alimony is paid from men to women. Same with child support. Men are mostly, and he looks like he has a follow-up here. So I'll wait for that to come through. But I guess going back to the submissive thing, would you guys consider, those of you who are married or in relationships, those of you who are Christian, would you or will you be or are you submissive to your husband or boyfriend or whatever?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And it's in any situation, it doesn't matter who's making more money, what situation you're in. If he's sick and you're healthy, like he is the head of the household and you're the neck, just like Jim Bob said. I would agree with that.
Case for you?
Oh, well, since I'm single, I guess right now.
When you get a boyfriend or married or...
Yeah. I mean, the dating process is for figuring out if they can be a good leader to you and they actually are submitted to the Lord. In my recent relationship, the hierarchy was, God, him, me, of course. And then he stepped right out, and then it was, the hierarchy remains still God, myself. And so, we weren't married, and we aren't. And so, that's just something we had to figure out. But, my dedication to the Lord does not change based on the relationship I'm in. And if the husband is not submitted to the Lord, then, he steps out of line. My direct line is still to the Lord, because he's the ultimate authority.
Sure. What about you guys over here?
I was going to say, you made a difference between secular submission and biblical submission. And so for me being married, as long as I have, we do biblical submission. And I do want to mention, Paul did say before the submission towards the wife towards the husband, he did say we are to submit to one another under Christ. He did lay that foundation. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right,
so,
but it's are you saying that it's like
no? I'm saying I agree with you.
Okay.
I'm just saying secular submission and biblical submission are two totally different things.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I don't even know how would we even define.
Yeah.
Like to me, a secular submission would be a set of manipulations that either could do.
Yeah.
Right. That's all it would be. It'd be like,
Which is why I feel like this whole feminist idea, like, what it derived from, it was like, well, it was already doomed from the start. There was like no basis in the relationship. If you're only submitting to the man, it's just like an ego stroke. So like, no, it's not going to work. And then you're going to have women acting out, but that's not how it's supposed to be.
Well, and then feminists always assume that submission means subjugation and that
Yeah.
she's going to be a slave. And
Right.
I always tell feminists that's not what it means. It means yielding.
Yeah.
It means yielding to his leadership and yielding to the things that he wants to do. And that is a really edifying thing for a woman's heart. It's so healthy. It's so good when it's done in the right way. And so feminists, though, they really like to come after specifically Savannah and I because we always say, like, it's not subjectivity. It's not beating a woman into subordination. That's not what the Bible talks about. And if feminists actually wanted to read the Bible and actually look at what it says, then they'd figure out really quickly that Eve's curse from the beginning has been she wanted to dominate over her husband. Obviously, the pains in childbirth part, and that's very easy to understand, but she's always wanted to dominate and control over her husband, and feminism is really the institutionalization of Eve's curse, and that's why I'm against it.
Yeah.
And I have a question for you, Savannah, related to this. So you're married. You do quite a bit of social advocacy when it comes to your anti-abortion stuff. Maybe you do some political stuff too, or
Yes.
if your husband asked you to stop your social media stuff and stop your advocacy, would you?
It would have to be a conversation as to why.
What
I
if
mean,
oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
yes. If it was like causing issues in our marriage, then obviously yes, because that's what's more important to me. But as we are both Catholic Christians and we're called to speak out and against abortion because it's the intentional ending of an innocent human life that's made in the image of God, it would kind of make you question, like, well, is he disagreeing with what God is telling us to do and what we're supposed to be
No,
called
let's
to
assume.
do?
Yeah, let's assume he's on board with the message. He's not pro-choice or anything.
Right.
But he just makes a determination. He's like, you know what? I just don't want you out there on social media like that. Just don't want you to do it.
Yeah.
Would you?
Okay.
So you'd stop?
It's actually something that I asked. Yeah, I would. It's actually something that I asked him about before we got married. Like, because obviously I was already making political and pro-life content
Right.
before, and I was just kind of like, what do you think about this? Because I really eventually want to take this to the next level, and that's when I recently kicked off my YouTube channel. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I feel called to do. Like, how do you feel about it? And it was definitely something that he thought about because there are a lot of risks that go into it. Obviously, you can see I got punched in the face. Like, it's
Right.
not exactly safe all of the time. It's not fun a lot of the time going into these big crowds and getting screamed at and called names. And I know that he's very protective and he doesn't want to see me get hurt. And so he wouldn't want to put me in a situation where that might happen just as a
Right.
guy.
So just a point of clarification. You said there would have to be a conversation about it.
Well, I would want to know why. Like, I would say yes, okay,
Yeah.
but can I know why?
Okay. I don't really think I have any pushback there. Maybe the situation could be you got attacked. He could be like, yeah, your safety. I don't want my wife getting beat up on
Yeah.
the street. So
There's also another element there that will God willing will be on the horizon is once you have children, the thing you're weighing ultimately within a Christian paradigm is can you fulfill your duties at home as a mother, even if what you're doing is like super amazing and pro-Christian and everything.
Right.
And that seems like if you're already in a Christian paradigm, it's like a no-brainer anyway. Like you'd be like, you choose your kid over potentially getting punched in the face,
100%.
just with the potential that you could change one woman's mind from doing what she's doing, but that ends up coming first. So some people don't see it that way, though. They go, well, no. I'm a boss babe. I'm a Christian boss babe. And you're like, yeah, but does that mean abandoning your duties? And
Right.
well, yeah, if I'm a boss, God made me a boss babe. And they basically take this approach. And then the marriage suffers. And if there's children, they would suffer as well from that view. And that's why on this podcast, especially, we ask people who are who say they're Christian, But then really it comes out later that they're really just kind of feminists, like undercover, where
Right.
they really just want to win and be the center of attention. And so,
Yeah.
it's always a fair question to ask.
Yeah, we had a conversation after.
Christine donated $200. Ladies, let me give you some game to counter Brian. Just say that you are Christian and trick them into signing the paperwork, and feel free to divorce and take half his stuff later. Easy game.
Korean
Thank you,
out.
Christine.
Thanks, Christine.
That's funny. No, we're not going to do that. Yeah, my husband, I said to my husband, because, he's going out there with me as well. He's my cameraman. He saw everything that went down when I got attacked. And I asked him, I was like, are you just going out there with me and recording me because you support me and you're like loving what I'm doing, or do you really feel called to do this? Because I don't want you to just feel upset every time we go out and just like nervous. And he told me, no, I'm actually starting to feel like called to doing this, which is like my dream. I'm so glad that he is feeling called to speak out against the preborn and against, the gender ideology stuff that's going on in our country and just the attack on children in general. Because it's a lot. It's like I said, it's not always fun. So I'm glad that he supports me in that. But again, if I was asking him that question because I was like, if this is making you upset for me to do and it's stressing you out, like,
Wait a second. Your husband saw this, and that woman who hit you still has her hands?
Yeah. So if you can watch the video, like you see him like go after her, and obviously he's not going to put his hands on a woman because in the Western world that doesn't go very well, even if
you're in the right.
She's in the wrong. And so my husband reacted to the situation better than I think anybody could have, because of course there was just so much built up anger and rage. The woman was a lot bigger than me and a lot bigger than him as well. And my husband goes to the gym every single day, like has huge muscles.
Are you sure it wasn't a man?
Well, she did say, suck my dick, like as she was walking away.
I thought I should
and
check.
And then somebody called her Brian Rivers the other day. Her name is Brianna Rivers, and I'm like, maybe something's starting to add up. But yeah, I feel like the suck my dick is just like a Bronx saying. That's just like
Yeah,
what girls
now
say
it's
in
a
the Bronx.
common thing
gonna
for
say.
girls to say.
As soon
Unfortunately.
as you explain
How
the situation,
classy.
I'll take the video.
It's all right. Okay, Lucas, he sent this one in. I read it earlier. He continued, relegated to weekend dad since men are still the primary breadwinners. Men forfeit 50% of their hard-earned wealth. It's unfortunate, but a secular marriage contract is easier to break than a cell phone contract, and women are incentivized to pursue divorce. Oh, he's got another continued? Wow. You got another continued? Thank you, Lucas. This is the original, if anybody missed it. He said 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Lucas, appreciated that. There it is. For rather capricious reasons, ironically enough, my skepticism of marriage today comes as a married man myself, albeit both devout Greek Orthodox. Wow, that was well written, Lucas.
Lucas.
He's married himself, Lucas, and he's. Aren't you a lawyer? You're a lawyer,
I
right?
say, I want to know what he does because he does this often.
Yeah.
He's an attorney, and he's a handsome guy, right? Look at that. Look at that
got his
handsome guy.
personal injury.
All right, thank you, Lucas. Appreciate it. We have a message here from Desert Joe. He says, the institution of marriage for men in modernity is akin to jumping out of an airplane with a parachute that has a 50% chance of opening successfully and was packed by someone you thought loved you. Damn. Oof. Oh, my goodness.
Who hurt you?
Desert Joe.
Right.
Is there anybody here who doesn't want to get married? Anybody?
Based. Okay.
Yes, you do.
Anybody here who doesn't want kids?
Me?
Don't want kids? Don't want kids? Why is that?
Because actually, if you have a kid, you will have more responsibility for them, and you have the responsibility to educate them and help them to be a good guy. And if you are not, or like we said before, maybe divorce or doing something with your husband, then they go a bad express to your kid. Yeah.
Okay. And why for you?
I certainly hold the idea that look after a baby is very hard. It's too hard for me, and I think I don't have enough time, money to give the baby best education or something like that.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question to your answers. Was it pushed on you guys being from China that having children was like a negative, or that, because I know that my husband's from India and everybody says, have children, but no more than two. And like China's had the 2-child laws in the past. Did your parents tell you that, having kids is a big burden or like a big weight on you? Or
Actually, it varies from people to people. Yes, because I know some of my classmates. They have the dream. They hold the dream to be in a marriage and have a kid, but there's. It's just something some people like me, and also my mom tell me that she told me that I'm lucky to have you, but actually you don't have to have a baby or being in a marriage with yourself because you are the best head of yourself. Yeah.
what about you? Did your parents tell you that having kids was going to be hard, or?
Not really, because I think education in China is really hard. As for me, my undergraduate university is not very famous, but I still spent 3 years to Chinese 高考. I think it's really, really hard. I don't think I can give my baby best education. I don't want see my baby spend a hard time same as me.
Okay.
If you had a husband, would you want to have a kid?
Maybe.
So you don't want to be a single mom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it maybe if you had a husband who was helping, you would want to have a child? Or you would be open to it?
Maybe I will.
Yeah, it sounds like, and this is something obviously present here in the West, is I would call it propaganda. Not that there isn't a realistic focus and concern when you do have kids and when you're trying to prepare, but as everyone knows, even if you thought you were prepared, you're still not prepared. But we're pretty much bombarded constantly with baby means you're a slave, baby means your life's over, baby means everything that you liked is over. This is just hammered into American culture through every facet of communication. And so it's interesting to see from your perspective from another country how much of that is there. It's probably less at this point, honestly. We got it bad over here.
Yeah, considering how top-heavy China's population is, I imagine there would be a lot more pro-baby propaganda, but it sounds like maybe not. But you said, I don't remember which one of you said it, but one of you said, I don't want that responsibility of having a baby. Is that, who said that?
I said that.
Why would you not want to take on something so amazing?
Because actually, if your kid is good, that's fine. I'll appreciate that. But what if he's had something wrong or done something wrong, and you will get upset, and you will think, oh God, how do I have a kid to do that? Because I made you, I had you, and I put my heart on you, but why you done like that?
Oh, you're afraid to have a little shit kid.
Yes.
Well, They are at some point. I mean, they go through a phase. So if you're ever considering having kids, just know there will be a phase where you'll go through that, but that's just a phase.
But you're going to love them so much still because
Yeah.
you made them. And
Yeah.
have you ever talked to a mom about how her life changed when she first saw her newborn baby?
I'll tell you right now.
That's
You literally know. It was literally the best moment of my life. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like there's the cliche saying like you don't even know what you were doing before you had kids. I truly cannot tell you like the purpose or direction like my life was going in, because I always had like dreams like and goals. Like I've always been very goal oriented in school and work and career and all of that. But that doesn't fill your soul the way the love of a child does. It's like everybody loves their dog and their pet. Every day you go home after work, you know they're gonna love you no matter what. It's that times a million with your kid, and it's just unbeatable.
Don't tell those dog parents that. They'll fight. They'll open your face.
I love animals too. Like I've had pets my whole life, but there really is not. It's like they came from you.
Well,
And
I
you-
also think, like, on a psychology point of view, like, we are happier as human beings when we're being selfless. Because the
Yes.
moment we are selfish and just thinking about ourselves is actually when we become more depressed. And us women were literally made to be nurturers, lovers, caregivers. Like, we just have that natural talent. Like, a lot of times, like, what your wife knows things before you do, she's on top of that. Like, we have that sixth sense.
Yes.
Like, we are programmed for
Right.
that.
If I could just chime in on that real quick. As someone, I don't have any children just yet, but I've been a nanny for years. And, you know, whether I was in a classroom teaching or I'm with kids, it didn't matter the age. They made me so happy. Teaching, even crying, I'll take the tantrums. It was great. Honestly, it made me stronger. But kids just do something for you where it's just like, wow, like you remember why life can be so beautiful.
I think it's just because they're so pure and innocent, just like the dog mom or the cat mom.
Yeah, and
like,
you
it's
just
the
want to foster
innocence
that
in
and
it.
give it more love. And the more more love you put into your kids, the better they're going to turn out. They're going to make mistakes. Look at us. We make mistakes. I could tell you so many I made as a young girl. But it gives you more hope in the world. With so much ugly crap happening everywhere, you look at your kid, you see such pureness, happiness, such love, and it just gives you more oomph to get through the next day.
Well, you have a chance to make the next generation beautiful and stronger
right there.
because they definitely have been trying to mess with us.
Yes.
And we're to the point where we're waking up and we're over it.
Question for you two, though. So, I mean, you're both young. You're both 20, or is 20 and 21. Is that? So, do you think maybe when you're a bit older, your viewpoint might change, or are you pretty set in not having kids?
But now I will say that I won't change my mind of that. I know I love kids because I have a little brother. Yeah, I love him so much. But actually, I won't have my own kid because I'm afraid if I have a kid, so my love of him will become the first one.
You're an engineer, right? You're going to be an engineer? So you're afraid to take on the biggest engineering project of your life?
Because maybe like that, yeah. Because I have to be in my goal, have to just be in my dream, and I'm afraid if I have kids, so he will become the first or she will become the first. I'm afraid of that. Yeah.
And then what about you?
As she said, maybe I will change my mind when I have a husband or when I get in a romantic relationship.
Can I say something real quick? As a nurse who goes into homes, like it's really sad when I go into homes and those older people do not have children. So you're gonna eventually, like as you age, you're gonna see, that difference, because when I go into homes and I help the older population, that don't have kids, it's really, really sad compared to when I go into homes and they do have children.
I'm so happy you said that because
Yeah.
my mom actually just passed away in March, and to be there with
Yeah.
her through that whole entire process has inspired me to want to be a death doula.
Okay,
And just
yeah.
the fact that I was like able to stay the night with her, be with her in her last moments.
And I'm sure she appreciated that, you know, like, yeah.
Are your parents married?
Yes.
And they're still together?
Yes.
Yeah. What about you? Are your parents they're married?
Yeah.
And do you have any siblings or
Oh.
do you have a brother or sister?
No.
You said one younger brother?
Yes.
Okay, so you're the oldest child.
Actually not.
Oh, you have an older brother, older
Yes,
sister?
I have an older brother
Okay.
because my parents, like, he is the son of my father, and my father got twice marriage, and but we are good, yeah, because we played all of the time.
Okay.
And you said you're from China, right?
Yes.
Okay, so was that where the the one kid implementation was just dropped, where now you can have as many kids as you want in China? Y'all know? Did y'all hear about that? Like,
But now our country just encourage us to have more kids.
oh, okay, yeah.
Can I ask you what a death doula is?
Think about like a birth doula, a woman that's there to basically help that process. It's the same thing. It's a woman that's there to help that person pass to the next phase.
I love that because I lost my mom 2 years ago, so that would have been very
you.
handy.
I feel you.
And by help, you don't mean like a pillow, right? I'm just checking.